I just got an email from the lawyer. That's how I got again delayed today. But now we are done. The recording. Yeah. All right. Let's start. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shri Mati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shrinivari Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Hari Bol. So, just to recap what we have done last 1 year, briefly, so that it will be segue to what we are going to do hopefully for the next 1 year. So last 1 year we went through the philosophy, the Siddhanta behind Guru Tattva. We covered many topics, facets of Guru Tattva from Srila Prabhupada's Moola books, the main textbooks, which are Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion. Of course, Krishna book is with Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita, um, and Nectar of Instruction a little bit. But that's where we focus to understand where the Guru Tattva is, especially in CC Adi 134 to 58. And we did a whole summary of it last week on the whole Siddhanta of Guru Tattva. And very brief that our Siddhanta is the initiation process. The Diksha Guru is Bhagavata, Mahabhagavat, whom we associate, serve, and surrender to, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, verse number 16 to 18, which is the same thing what Srila Prabhupada wrote on in Markine Bhagavad Dharma in the Boston Harbor. And so this is how he implemented it in ISKCON, where people would just love him, appreciate him, they surrender to him thinking he's the perfect person, he's the pure devotee, come from the spiritual world. And they just, there was no other doubt like that, apparent doubt that he's not. And if there was, then there was inquiry and he would deal with it. So that was the way he implemented the Guru Tattva, the main Guru Tattva, the real initiation. And we went through this, how the initiation process progresses with the Mahabhagavat is one surrenders internally in the mind, in the consciousness, just like Arjuna did, even externally. But internally is what one submits to a pure devotee and understand he is the perfect, whatever he is saying is the truth. And then based on that, then he starts doing the Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya, by service, by inquiry, submissive inquiries, and by service, inquiries, and surrender. Yeah. So that's how the initiation progresses, and it goes on till we reach at least the attachment asakti platform. Once one is able to think of Krishna deeply within oneself all the time, because one is so attached to him in one's swarupa then. So that's what a Diksha process is doing. And with Mahabhagavat, and externally, Srila Prabhupada established with his spiritual master's example, that he was doing the formal process of initiation using the Pancharatrika and Vedic process of samskar and the Pancha, Pancha, I don't know what's the Sanskrit name for it, but 5 facets. A name is given, our name is changed, the Hare Krishna name is given, and Tilak, the Tilak Kantimala, yeah, these 5 things are done so that one becomes a Vaishnava servant. That's the formal initiation, Pancharatrika initiation, and the Vedic samskar were performed too. So that was the external way of performing initiation, and that carried on. It 71, 70, he started delegating it also, and so many so forth. And July 9th formalized that external initiation too. But internally, the process of Bhagavata Vidhi initiation, that is where the whole focus of Srila Prabhupada was, and how he implemented was automatically devotees were, as we discussed, they were in love with them more or less, and so much great gratitude and appreciation and faith in him and everything. So, and they used to talk about him all the time, and that's how we understand how that Srila Prabhupada devotees tell us about that. So this is now after 50 years, we are trying to again, different places in the world, different devotees are doing it. We too, in our little association, we want to go in that direction too, of how he implemented the Guru Tattva in ISKCON. So we're trying to do that too in his footsteps. So this is one forum. I'm so grateful to devotees to join and spend your real important time to associate and think of glorifying Srila Prabhupada and understanding Srila Prabhupada together. So Balaram Prabhu has been very merciful. I mean, it is so grateful to him that he has set us last 1 year back. He inspired me that we should do something like this. He didn't want something in this format, but that's the only format I understood, that first we have to go through the Siddhanta, then we come to the application part. Otherwise, it can go into sentimentalism. And so we did that. He has been very merciful and tolerant through the whole process. And now he has also again set us up in this direction of let's go through Srila Prabhupada's pastimes, through before why he appeared, before the appearance, then his childhood, and then so on and so forth, and even till now. And what we would do, as I'm hoping, and other devotees can please chip in and add your thoughts on how we would like to do in more detail and from different angles, is what I've been thinking is we go through Srila Prabhupada's own words in the beginning, his what he has said about the appearance and every facets of the pastime, and then also open it up for any devotee wants to bring in whatever sources they know, and we can go through, we can vet the sources whether they are good, bad, ugly, like we can, that will be a learning process for all of us. And we can see the motive behind people saying, not saying, all these things we can, through symptoms of course, based on scriptures, not just sentimentally, otherwise it goes into offensive mode. And so that we would also do. And also many doubts we all get. Oh, why is this Srila Prabhupada doing it, why not? Let's discuss it openly in this safe forum, because we are all Srila Prabhupada's prospect, I mean, trying to be disciples. At least I am trying little bit, and other devotees are already good disciples. So we go in this association in this sangha to clear up in deeply, or even if it's not to clear up as a doubt, but to understand it from another angle, which is very pleasurable to know, and it will deepen our understanding and appreciation of Srila Prabhupada and as our Mahabhagavat Guru. So, and also criticisms, many devotees have heard criticisms being made, whether personal or even policy criticisms by different groups, and which is very damaging, because when some authority groups or people, they say something and then people kind of take it without, many times not able to filter it out, and then it causes harm, which is very offensive to Srila Prabhupada and to these simple souls. So I'm really get very upset about it. So I apologize beforehand. Uh, so this is what I've been thinking. Please, I open the floor to everyone else. Please give your thought processes and how else we can do it. Hare Krishna devotees. Anyone? Balaram Prabhu?
Kind of not sure what you're actually asking because we've already set the frame, let's say the line in the direction in which we'll go.
Okay.
So basically right now it's like, okay, so I don't have any information. Didn't do any homework. So if anybody has any information referring to who Srila Prabhupada is or what Srila Prabhupada is or why he took his appearance as in pre-appearance discussion and tattva regarding Prabhupada. That's what we should hear now, and then we go on chronologically through
Okay.
Prabhupada's life.
Okay. I mean, I would do that. I was just thinking if someone else has any thoughts to share on how else to look into it, look into this. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu's, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I think that framework, like you were discussing on WhatsApp, like it would be nice to understand how the appearance of a Nitya Siddha takes place in the material world. Also, I would like, I don't know if right now or later on, I would like to we could discuss about like there is this because we understand by Nitya Sira coming from the spiritual world to the material world, right? But there is some maybe I can bring up this later, but there is some I think it's Tamal Krishna is asking. There is this letter where they are asking what Prabhupada was in his previous life, right? So Prabhupada kind of I'm just paraphrasing. So Prabhupada kind of say that he was a doctor or something like that. But then he says that it doesn't really matter, right? Like what he was in his previous life. So he gives the example of Narada Muni. So Narada Muni wasn't coming directly from the spiritual world before becoming Narada Muni, but he was this child and he reached perfection. In his next life, he was named like Narada Muni. He was born as Narada Muni. So it would be interesting to know like if because Prabhupada says that Nitya Siddha, once you reach perfection, either by if you become Sadhana Siddha, Kripa Siddha, you reach the stage of Nitya Siddha. So it would be nice to understand like if Prabhupada really came directly from the spiritual world and then he got that form that we see as Prabhupada, or he was some other personality living in the material world before taking birth as Prabhupada, right? Thank you, Prabhupada.
Prabhu, thank you very much. Let us dive into it. Anyone else has anything to share before we dive? Okay. Okay. Let's do that. So, I want to acknowledge the fallen servant Mukunda Prabhu, a very unique devotee, but with his heart, he has prepared this beautiful, wonderful, book compilation, Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita as it is. And it is, he has gone through, he has done the basic work for us, the basic service, such an important service he did. So all that you speak, no, Prabhu, Balaram Prabhu and Krishna Kishore Prabhu, he has done that. And these are very appropriate pastimes. I was thinking just yesterday, okay, which are the which are the verses which would go in for his appearance, which are the statements of Srila Prabhupada saying this and this and that. And then today morning I looked into it. Let me see if he has all of them and more. So and he has Krishna, he has all these also. Um, these ones that I was astrologer before. Where is it gone? In my previous life, So let's go through that, huh? You're all okay with it, going through this book as...
Yeah, so what we can do then, if anybody does have the book, like I do, you can just tell us which page,
Yeah.
or maybe you can share this book. You've got the whole book here on PDF,
Yeah.
but maybe you can share it with the whole group and everybody can have their copy.
Great. I will do that. One second.
I can share it on the chat, Nimai Pandit Prabhu, so you can go ahead. I already attached it to the chat, if you don't mind.
Sure. Perfect. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Okay. So, Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishnam again, Srimad Vedanta Swami Tinamine, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gaurvani Charine, Nirvishesha Srinivadi, Pashyata Deshitarine. So, anyone would like to read? This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Where is it gone?
Yeah.
Madhya 22, 10, 11 to 15. It's a long translation and long purport. Param Prabhu, you want to read through it?
Yeah. I was just, sorry, looking at how to share. Krishna Kishore Prabhu, I know you shared it on this particular group also. If you can share it on the WhatsApp group also,
Okay, Prabhu, yes.
if you're in there, that'll be very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah, I can read the screen, yes? Translation. The living entities, jivas, are divided into two categories. Some are eternally liberated and others are eternally conditioned. Those who are eternally liberated are always awake to Krishna consciousness, and they render transcendental service at the feet of Lord Krishna. They are to be considered eternal associates of Krishna, and they are eternally enjoying the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. Apart from the ever liberated souls, there are the conditioned souls, who always turn away from the service of the Lord. They are perpetually conditioned in this material world and are subjected to the material tribulations brought about by different bodily forms in hellish conditions. Due to his being opposed to Krishna consciousness, the conditioned soul is punished by the witch of the external energy, Maya. He is thus ready to suffer the threefold miseries brought about by the body and mind. The inimical behavior of other living entities and natural disturbances caused by the demigods. In this way, the conditioned soul becomes the servant of lusty desires, and when these are not fulfilled, he becomes a servant of anger and continues to be kicked by the external energy Maya, wandering and wandering throughout the universe. He may, by chance, get the association of a devotee physician, whose instructions and hymns make the witch of external energy flee. The conditioned soul thus gets into touch with the devotional service of the Lord Krishna, and in this way he can approach nearer and nearer to the Lord. What was that we just read?
Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22, 10 to 15th verse translation.
Right, those are all translations. Okay, so this is the purple. Okay, so purple. An explanation of verse 8 through to 15 is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. The Lord is spread throughout the creation in his quadruple expansions and incarnations. Krishna is fully represented with all potencies in each and every personal extension. But the living entities, although separated expansions, are also considered one of the Lord's energies. The living entities are divided into two categories, the eternally liberated and eternally conditioned. Those who are ever liberated never come in contact with Maya, the external energy. The ever conditioned are always under the clutches of the external energy. This is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Devi Hyayesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. I continue?
Yes.
Yeah. The Nitya Buddhas are always conditioned by the external energy, and the Nitya Muktas never come in contact with the external energy. Sometimes an ever liberated personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into this universe just as the Lord descends. Although working for the liberation of the conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Generally, ever liberated personalities live in the spiritual world as associates of Lord Krishna, and they are known as Krishna Prashida, associates.
Parishad.
Huh?
Parishad.
Parishad. Okay, Parishad. Associates of the Lord. Their only business is enjoying Lord Krishna's company. And even though such eternally liberated persons come within this material world to serve the Lord's purpose, they enjoy Lord Krishna's company without stoppage. The ever liberated person who works on Krishna's behalf enjoys Lord Krishna's company through his engagement. The ever-conditioned soul, provoked by lusty desires to enjoy the material world, is subjected to transmigrate from one body to another. Sometimes he is elevated to higher planetary systems, and sometimes he is degraded to hellish planets and subjected to the tribulations of the external energy. Due to being conditioned by the external energy, the conditioned soul within this material world gets two kinds of bodies, a gross material body and a subtle body composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Due to the gross and subtle bodies, he is subjected to the threefold miseries, adhyatmika, adhibhautika, and adhidaivika. Miseries arising from the body and mind, other living entities, and natural disturbances caused by demigods from higher planetary systems. The conditioned soul, subjected to the threefold miseries, is ceaselessly kicked by Maya, and this is his disease. If by chance he meets a saintly person who works on Krishna's behalf to deliver conditioned souls, and if he agrees to abide by his order, he can gradually approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela. Shall I read all that? 22 chapter 22, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Shall I continue to read?
This is so this is great, and it is clear. Now the next one.
Maybe we could just stop for some. Should we stop and ask questions after reading each something or like that? If somebody has any, I certainly do.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think we've all heard these two groups before: eternally conditioned, eternally liberated. And when I first heard eternally conditioned, I thought that can't be true. Many years ago, and luckily that was then corrected. By some, I don't know how or where, but where I heard or read Prabhupada say, eternally conditioned just means he's been here for so long, and the soul's fall or transfer into the material world is so many years ago. It's beyond our mind comprehension. So he's labeled as eternally conditioned, although it's not actually. Is that correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So, it said directly there that eternally conditioned, always envious of Krishna. This word always tells us always, but now we see that's not really true. So eternally liberated. I can't understand that. The Nitya Siddhas I can't understand that that is it really, really eternal. Also, because Srila Prabhupada at the same time states that the free will of the living entity is always there. That has to be there, and it is there. So then it would mean, if that's true, it would mean that in the DNA of the pure souls, there's two groups. One of them in their actual, let's say, DNA would never desire to leave Krishna or be against Krishna or want to be Krishna. And then there's another group that could desire to be Krishna. It doesn't seem to match. But I think Nimai Pandit Prabhu is busy on the phone. So if anybody else would like to give some feedback on that, that would be nice.
So yes, Prabhu, like you were saying, like Prabhupada says that there is no, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly in English, but there is not a point that it can be traced out the history of the condition. So actually, I found the quote here. So Prabhupada says that eternally conditioned means we do not know when we have been conditioned like this. It is not possible to trace out the history. So that we are talking about the eternally conditioned soul. Now I'm a little bit, I have some doubts about the Nitya Siddha. For me, it's not completely clear. Like, what is the nature of the Nitya Siddha? Because Nitya Siddha means eternally liberated, right? So we understand that he has never come to the material world. But there is this quote where Prabhupada discuss is a letter to Jadurani Mataji, and Prabhupada says that the six Goswamis were not all eternal associates of Krishna. Only Rupa and Raghunath Goswami were eternal associates of Krishna. But then Prabhupada explains that wait.
That up, Prabhu? Can you share that with us?
This quote of Rupa Goswami Prabhu and Raghunath Goswami.
Rupa and I remember reading it, but I just want to read it exactly what Prabhupada writes.
Yes. So the chat is here. I just yeah.
You
This,
can share it on the screen also.
okay. Maybe I will do that. So is this letter, Prabhu? So should I read it or it is visible on my screen?
Yes,
Can you see my screen?
yeah, I can see. You can read this. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it, but it's a little bit small. I mean, I'm sure people with good
Yeah.
eyes can see it. But is
Okay.
there any way to make the screen bigger, Nimai Prabhu?
No.
Okay,
So
maybe you can make the font bigger on your screen.
this is
Krishna Kishore Prabhu,
the
can you make your
compilation.
screen?
I put the quote here. Maybe someone can find it while I'm sharing my screen. This is there is a letter, 9 September 1967, letter to Jadurani. Because, like I'm on the Gmail, so it is taking a lot of space on the screen, like all these, uh, the dashboard and like that. So,
Read it, Prabhu. Yeah, that'll be great.
okay. So I wrote the reference on the chat. So it says, please accept my dear Jadurani, please accept my blessings. Your letter of 8/24 contains some important questions. The six Goswamis are not all eternal associates of Krishna. Only Rupa and Raghunath Goswami are eternal associates. There are two kinds of living entities, Nitya Mukta or eternal associates of the Lord, and Nitya Vada or eternally conditioned. This material manifestation is a chance for the eternally conditioned entities to go back to Godhead. But when they go back, there is no distinction between the two. So this is what I was talking about, that there is no distinction. Once we get liberated, then we are also Nitya Siddha. So actually, I would like to share also this. On Canva, I have this quote. Well, it is mostly in Spanish, but it's a lecture of Srimad Bhagavatam 797, Mayapur, February 27, 1977. So where Prabhupada says that, so we should always remember that there are three categories: Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha, and Kripa Siddha. But when they become Siddha, perfect, by any process, they are on the same level. There is no distinction. Prabhupada is also saying there. So yeah, I will continue reading this. When Krishna appears, some of his eternal associates who come with him to assist him in his different incarnational activities, and some of the living entities from conditioned life are liberated by following the footprint of Lord Krishna and his bona fide associates. So all the six became eternal associates of Krishna. Regarding Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he descended from higher planet for being liberated in the association of Lord Chaitanya. So his conditioned life came to an end after he contacted Lord Chaitanya. The distinction between subtle and gross bodies is elementary. There are 8 elements, 5 gross and 3 subtle. Should I?
Mm-hmm. So, you have anything else to share, bro? And
Just that I would like to discuss about the nature of the Nitya Siddha, because like I was saying, like normally I used to think like that Nitya Siddha means he has been all the time in the spiritual world. So when he descends, he is still a pure devotee. But now, by reading this, maybe we could discuss if it applies, like the nature of the Nitya Siddha, because we see that all the four other Goswamis didn't come directly from the spiritual world. So they were in the material world. I want to understand that it at some point they were conditioned, but they became eternally liberated. So as I was, yeah.
see, a couple of pastimes come in mind. One is, when Lord Ramchandra, it is there in Nectar of Devotion, when Lord Ramchandra was passing through Dandakaranya forest, then those sages, when they saw him, they desired to, they were performing sacrifices and they saw him walking, and they were so enamored by him that they desired to become his wife, his consort. And Srila Prabhupada explains that some of those, they became gopis in Vrindavan, and then they perfected their lives, and then they went back to the spiritual world. So it does not, like, when, the way I understand it, that to come in contact with Krishna directly in his internal pastimes, in his dham, either at least in Vrindavan we know that that is their last life. They came there to, as Srila Prabhupada says, we perfect our lives, and then they are trained in the material world, Gokul Vrindavan, and then they are transferred in their next life to Golok Vrindavan. So we don't know the four Goswamis, what was their progression. Um, they this life, they were, when these six Goswamis in this life, the four Goswamis, they were already Nitya Siddha, and they were being trained in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, or to like perfect the service. They already pure devotee, but just perfecting the service in this life, or they were conditioned in this life and then they were perfecting. I'm more inclined towards the latter, that they were like the Dandakaranya forest sages, who if who came to serve the Lord in this mission and perfected, and then they entered the pastimes in details. Like, so much training is required. So So those details. Because of the mission, the Lord is coming with this particular mission, and they assisted him so closely, and because of the song which Srila Prabhupada writes, that song, uh, Gorangira, Sangigane, Nitya Siddha. What is that? You remember that? Uh, Let me get that together. Gaurangera Nitya Siddha. Gaurangera Nitya. So this is from Purport to Suvarana Sri Gaura Mahima by Srila Prabhupada. The next line is Gaurangera Sangigane. Sangigane means associates. Lord Chaitanya is always associated. He is not alone. We never see a picture of Lord Chaitanya alone. At least there must be Lord Nityananda or Gadadhar Pandit. Actually, wherever Lord Chaitanya was present, many thousands of devotees would assemble. Such devotees, especially those who were his nearest intimate associates, were Nitya Siddha. That's why I say that. They were already Nitya Siddha, not like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but like what you just wrote, what you just read. In the devotional line, there are three kinds of perfect devotees. One is called sadhana siddha. This refers to a person who has very rigidly performed the regulative prescriptions and thereby reached the perfectional stage. Reaching the perfectional stage by executing the regulative principles is called sadhana siddha. There is another kind of devotee who is called kripa siddha. He may not have executed the regulative principles very rigidly, but by his service mode, he is specifically blessed by the spiritual master or Krishna. He is immediately promoted to the perfectional stage. This is called kripa siddha. Balram Prabhu going in that direction. Nitya siddha is one who was never contaminated by the material nature. The sadhana siddhas and the kripa siddhas were supposed to have once been in the contamination of material nature, but nitya siddhas never came into contact with the material nature. All the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are nitya siddhas or eternally perfect. This is the reason. Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram, the immediate expansion of Krishna. Advaita Prabhu is Mahavishnu. He is also Vishnu Tattva. Gadadhar Prabhu is an expansion of Radharani, and Shivas is an incarnation of Narada. They are Nitya Siddha or eternally perfect. They were never imperfect. They were never in contact with material contamination. We should understand that as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself
Can I ask you a question there? Because it was earlier said that, and I think you gave him as an example, you gave that Narad Muni, for example, was a normal conditioned soul, and he came in contact with pure devotees, and then he became Narad Muni. But here, it's said that Narad Muni is a Nitya Siddha.
After he became Narad Muni, no, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas Thakur is an incarnation of Narada Muni.
Yeah. But it says afterwards, they are Nitya Siddha or eternally perfect. They were never imperfect, never, in past, present, future. Right?
So there
Yeah,
are
tell me if I'm wrong, because actually Krishna Kishore Prabhu, his question was a little bit different, so it seems like, to what you're answering now. He was asking, like, what is an actual Nitya Siddha? Let's get a definition of that. And from what we read before, it seems like Prabhupada is saying, anyone who was in the spiritual world and only has come here on a mission, they're Nitya Siddhas. But anyone who came here out of their own desire got transferred here. And even though, until they go back, they're called, was it Nitya Baddha?
Let's read that Narad Muni's perfection, Nitya Siddha. No? You have Krishna Kishore Prabhu, that pastime?
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Where he talked, not the pastime, where Srila Prabhupada says about Narada Muni.
I think it's also in that Lilamrita that you are sharing, but let me see. So is there? So far, I remember it is there.
Yes.
I was regarding the child after he will like to distributing and preach the first movement.
So let's read this letter to Tamala Krishna on 21st June 1970. And mind you, that's when this whole Brahmananda, Gargamuni Prabhu's, Vishnu Jan Maharaj, and Krishna Das, this pastime was going on when, and other devotees, they were becoming offensive to Srila Prabhupada. That's when this question was being asked and answered at the same time. So I do not know why you have asked about my previous life, whether I was subjected to the laws of material nature. So even though accepting that I was subjected to the laws of material nature, does it hamper in my becoming spiritual master? What is your opinion? From the life of Narad Muni, it is distinct that although he was a conditioned soul in his previous life, there was no impediment of his becoming the spiritual master. This law is applicable not only to the spiritual master, but to every living entity. So far I am concerned, I cannot say what I was in my previous life. But one great astrologer calculated that I was previously a physician and my life was sinless. Besides that, to corroborate the statement of Bhagavad Gita, Suchinam Srimantam Gehe Yoga Bhrishta Samyayate, which means an unfinished yogi takes birth in rich family or born of a Shuchi or pious father. By the grace of Krishna, I got these two opportunities in the present life to be born of a pious father and brought up in one of the richest aristocratic families of Calcutta, Kasinath Malik. The Radha Krishna, a deity in this family, called me to meet him. And therefore, last time when I was in Calcutta, I stayed in that temple along with my American disciples. Although I had immense opportunities to indulge in the four principles of sinful life, because I was connected with a very aristocratic family, Krishna always saved me. And throughout my whole life, I do not know what is illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, or gambling. So far, my present life is concerned, I do not remember any part of my life when I was forgetful of Krishna. So, see, bringing these two together, no, this statement.
So just as you're doing that, Prabhu, can you just help us focus? What question are we trying to answer right now?
First of all, your question about Narad Muni, whether he was Nitya Siddha, how do we understand this with what we just read in this Shiva's incarnation of Narada? They are Nitya Siddha, eternally perfect. They are never imperfect. They were never in contact with material contamination. These two look apparently contradictory, no? Right?
Can we go back to the other one? I thought they were saying the same thing. Yes. Okay, yes. Yeah. But the question bigger than this, and clearer than this, is where Krishna Kishore Prabhu started, which is he wanted a definition or conclusive definition of what is a Nitya Siddha or eternally liberated person, and Nitya Baddha.
I mean, see, how I could bring it together, the conclusive, like these apparent contradictions, the two solutions come to, Shastric conclusions come in my mind. One is that this, see, Srila Narada Muni, this was his previous life. Once he becomes, like the way Bhagavatam explains, no, that there was a child who was initiated by the four Bhakti Vedantas, and he went all around the world and he saw Krishna in his heart and then he became perfect. But then he left his body, and when he left his body, at that time he got the body of Narad Muni, the eternally transcendental spaceman. So that was his next life. Next, basically, he passed off from the conditioned life and came to his eternal body. That body, in that body, Srivas Thakur is, sorry, where are we? That body is what is being talked about. Srivas in an incarnation of Narada. They are Nitya Siddha. So I feel the way to resolve these two is when they say he was not conditioned soul, that is talking about in this life. Like, let's say Narad Muni, let's say Srila Prabhupada, in his childhood, he was not a pure, he was, I mean, the argument would go like this, against this, that, oh, Srila Prabhupada was a conditioned soul in the childhood, but he became a pure devotee, and once he became pure devotee, he's a sadhana siddha, and so he's a nitya siddha too, and so forth. So, but Srila Prabhupada is saying no, in this pastime, in this, that no, they are always in. So in this life, it seems they are never contaminated.
No, but that's not what it's saying. It doesn't speak about this life or past life. It just says they were never imperfect, eternally perfect. That's what Nitya, right? Nitya eternally, Siddha eternally perfected. So there can't be a past, present, or future situation where they were imperfect, right? I mean, can we say it's, I mean, I'm more flowing in the direction that, like we have, what's that word when somebody's a brahmachari all their life? Naishtaki? Naishtaki brahmachari. So when someone's never had any kind of relationship, they're called Naishtaki brahmachari. So eternally liberated soul, if he has never fallen from the spiritual world to the material, but still he's there, he's never come to the material world, he's eternally liberated, or like we think about Prabhupada, he came here to the material world, but under a mission, not under the laws of nature by his own desires, on a mission. So although it looks like he's operating under a material body, he's still a Nitya Siddha because he has come for the mission. And anyone else like me and others like me who have come here by transfer because we desire to be Krishna, we would be under the category of eternally conditioned souls until we go back to the spiritual world. When we go back, after that point, we'll be classified as eternally liberated because I guess the idea is we'll never fall again. Although Prabhupada says, technically, you can still fall again. So yeah, this Nitya Siddha, I think Krishna Kishore Prabhu has a very good question. We need to become very conclusive and clear on what these mean.
Could we go through the nature of the soul to understand like this Nitya Siddha, Nitya Vada? Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have the because we are experiencing past, present, and future. So we divide previous life, future life, and present life. But the nature of the spirit soul is not like that because the spirit soul is sad, eternal. So in this concept of eternality, I don't know if that word exists, of eternal, I don't have the words in English. This concept of eternal, there is not past and future, and there is only this condition of this eternal situation. So the nature of the spirit soul, it is said by the it is described by this verse, Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadas. So it says that it is eternally a servant of Krishna. That is the nature of the soul. Thus, that means that when the soul comes in contact with the material world, it is classified as Nityavada. But does that mean that he is not anymore eternally servant of Krishna? So correct me if I'm wrong, but that is like our nature to be Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha means Jivera Swarupa Haya Krishnera Nityadas, right? So that is the nature of the spirit soul. But when the spirit soul forgets about this, is classified as Nityavada. But actually, his nature is always Nitya Siddha. So as soon as he remembers about this Jivera Swarupa Haya Krishnera Nityadas, this is my position to serve eternally Krishna, then this misunderstanding disappears. And when this misunderstanding disappears, that I'm this body, that I'm not servant of Krishna, then I don't want to say he recovers, but again his Nitya Siddha position shines. Like Prabhupada in this lecture, I was quoting this lecture, I found it. So it is Srimad Bhagavatam 797 lecture, Mayapur, February 27, 1977. So Prabhupada says, so we should always remember there are three categories: Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha, and Kripa Siddha. So sadhana siddha means that at one point he was conditioned. Kripa siddha means that at one point he was conditioned. By nitya siddha we understand that he wasn't never conditioned. So sadhana siddha and kripa siddha were already conditioned, but they got that the siddhi, the perfection. And then Prabhupada continues, but when they become Siddha, perfect, by any process, they are on the same level. There is no distinction. So why, so correct me if I'm wrong, all this I'm saying, but why on the same level and why no distinction? Because as spirit souls, we are all the same, eternally liberated. Jivera Swarupa Haya Krishnera Nityadas. Either we become conditioned, we are still Jivera Swarupa Haya Krishnera Nityadas. That is our position. Just we forget. But as soon as we remember, then we are in the same level. There is no distinction, as Prabhupada is saying. So then there is no point in previous life, present life, future life, because we are already in our original position, which is eternal, and there is no past and future. So I'm understanding this like that. So that's why it doesn't really matter if Narada Muni wasn't a pure devotee in his previous life. I mean, like just because he wasn't a pure devotee in his previous life, that checks him from being considered a Nitya Siddha, as Prabhupada was saying in that lecture. But when they become Siddha perfect by any process, they are on the same level. There is no distinction. Why? Because now he's exhibiting his original nature. So correct me if I'm wrong.
But the point is that, see, I remember this what Srila Prabhupada said. Once one is Nitya, one is attained this Nitya's Krishna Das position, then one is Nitya Siddha. The question is this purport on the song, that Sadhana Siddha and Kripa Siddha are being distinguished from Nitya Siddha. You see, Nitya Siddha is one who is never contaminated by the material nature. And it seems like there is like a linear, like a distinction being made. And it is especially those who are his in nearest intimate devotees. Well, the Nitya Siddha. They were not Sadhana Siddha or Kripa Siddha.
So like two categories of Nitya Siddha, those who never become conditioned and the one who became conditioned, but he attained to the Nitya Siddha position. Because anyway, Prabhupada is saying here that there is no distinction by any process that we become perfect. There is no distinction. So we can talk about two type of Nitya Siddhas, those who are eternally liberated in the spiritual world, never came to the material world, and those who came to the material world but they reach perfection and they are also considered nitya siddhas. We can say like that, or
And just to add another category to what you just said, we can also have a Nitya Siddha in the spiritual world, but came here just for a mission. So he didn't come to be conditioned. He came here for a mission. So he's still a Nitya Siddha, although he came to the material world. So,
Those are the Nitya Siddhas. I mean, this is whatever they do, it's and they were never contaminated. So that is why to put these two together, no, I feel more and more inclines toward thinking when the distinction is being made between sadhana siddha and nitya siddha, that distinction is more applicable to in this pastime. It's like there is a distinction being made with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He became sadhana siddha or kripa siddha in this pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a conditioned soul before. But the Goswamis, I don't know if the Goswamis sing, but let's say Narada Muni, he he didn't become he was already Nitya Siddha when he came down as an associate of Lord
which
Chaitanya.
is so true. But we just read that Prabhupada said he was
No, no,
conditioned soul.
not in this pastime. So when his pastime, his devotees, when he came, he was a Nitya Siddha. So it's kind of being in
Yeah, but
kind
that doesn't make sense because,
is being in this pastime, not
but then you lose the meaning of eternal, right?
no,
Or always,
that is
because he was conditioned.
Krishna Kishore,
So
that yes, it was conditioned, but that is like a phantasmagoria in a sense. That as soon as one turns the consciousness to become Nitya, then he is practical. There is another place Srila Prabhupada talks about it where he says because the time spent in the as conditioned soul in the material world was so like a fleeting moment in the eternality that it's basically one never falls down like that. One doesn't. It's like we are thinking it's so long, no, the material world, millions of lifetimes and like that, but for when we are as a pure devotee resident of the spiritual world, that's just a fleeting thought, like bad memory kind of. So it's for practically it is Nitya, Siddha. It is Nitya. When we go back to the world, we won't even like have this.
So basic,
why is this? Oh, sorry, Christopher, go ahead.
so basically, I mean, it's never stated, and I didn't read it, but maybe if you dig more into the Narada Muni story, maybe it comes up. Because if I connect these two together, then basically Narada Muni was on the Kripa Siddha in his previous life as a boy. He was in this service mood and got blessed by the pure devotees. Then but he still had to give, he was materially conditioned in that life, but then he reached this Siddha platform, perfection in life, had to give up his body, okay, but then of course, you remain on this Siddha platform, and at that point you really have your spiritual body, and that's when you enter again the Nitya Siddha stage, and at that point then you can decide, right? So not like Narada Muni, he can decide, do I enter into this universe? Do I go into the other universe? Do I go into the spiritual world? So he can go wherever he wants, right? So that he is not anymore bound by a material law to appear in a situation or be forced. Okay, you have to take this body. He can take part in a lila, And then, of course, also it appears for us that he takes birth and that he dies, but he actually, this is then just a play, right? So he could potentially, theoretically, he could decide, no, I take part in the Gora Lila, but I will stay for 1 billion years, But why would he do that, So, they're not conditioned, so they're free. That's what's Nitya. So they're not bound by time or what we conceive as time. So they can go in and out, right? So for them it's a completely different situation, right? So that's and our mind, of course, we cannot understand it because we are conditioned. So basically, by definition, we cannot perceive what they perceive, how they perceive things, right? But Nitya is not like, oh, I never was part of the material world. I mean, it's not that, oh, it's only for the spiritual souls who never, in our sense, were conditioned by material nature. It's just like on the soul stage, the soul is never conditioned. It cannot be really conditioned. It can only be conditioned because of our consciousness. Then it's called we are the conditioned souls. But the soul substance, of course, we know it cannot be conditioned. It can be bound by all the material layers, and then we are stuck here and called conditioned souls. But the substance itself, it's always Satchitananda, so it cannot be, in that sense, can never be conditioned. But yeah, so I would say Kripa Siddha, that's probably what technically he was in his previous life, Kripa Siddha, and then Nitya Siddha.
I think it is more pastime related. Pastime, he was not sadhana or Kripa Siddha. And he was considered Nitya Siddha by this pastime. Because
but what does this mean, pastime? He's still, I mean, of course, you can now, there's also this complication, right? So, are the devotees in the pastime aware that, oh, actually, here I'm Advaitacharya, but actually I'm Vishnu. So, of course, it's always aware. You cannot really, I mean, we know Vishnu cannot be covered by any material conditions. So it has to be that they are aware, right? I mean, of course, it can be a expansion, and that's, it can be an expansion, but still, I mean, there's a connection there, so it's not. I think we just cannot really conceive it because we are, encapsulated in our mind, and that's, we try to bring these things together and have to make logical sense of things.
Yeah. Because we don't understand the concept of eternality. And when we are thinking, when we are eternal, how does one, so other people think of us and other people refer to us? Because just like the Goswamis, the Srila Prabhupada was saying they were not, but then they are Nitya Siddha. So they are referred to as Nitya Siddha, just like in this verse, in the purport of Gaurangi Gane, that purport.
But also because our understanding of, the normal understanding, and probably our understanding of eternity is still a condition to time. Like, oh, he lives. So Brahma is not eternal. He lives for the whole universal time. He's not eternal. But from our point of view, this is like, oh, he basically is eternal. He's not, of course. So eternal is nothing to do with time. Time and eternity is two different things.
Uh-huh.
Time is a material condition. Eternity is not a material condition. Like time is a force, basically, right? It's a separate force.
Or maybe a question we should be asking ourselves is, why are the Goswamis and Prabhupada making these distinctions? It's eternally conditioned, eternally liberated. If maybe we understand the reason why, maybe that will help us understand the concept that they're trying to share with us. Because like we're saying, oh, Prabhupada is different. Prabhupada is not a conditioned soul. He came from the spiritual world to preach to us, right? And help us out. So it seems like that's important, or it gives some weight, it gives some more value to the words of this personality. So that would be maybe my question right now is, why are they making such distinctions?
I think when Srila Prabhupada was talking about, I mean, this is a very good question. And I think when disciples ask with the material conception that were you materially bound before, basically at that time in 1970, at least when he was replying to Tamal, this was his god brothers were projecting it into the movement through different devotees. I think it was through Achyutananda Prabhu in he was in Mayapur, and through them and he contaminated then Brahmananda in New York. They were friends from before, and then of course Brahmananda then contaminated. That's how it was spreading, that Srila Prabhupada is not like what you are thinking as a great pure devotee coming from the spiritual world, all these things. He was just like a gresta before doing business, and these kind of ordinary material thinking was being put into that. And then
Prabhuji, sorry, I understood completely differently. I understood that Prabhupada had banned them or pushed them out
before that,
because they were saying that he's the speaker of the Gita, that he's God.
before that, that was being projected, and then there was an anti push, and then they started saying this, something like this. So you can see in June the letter which he's writing to Tamal. You can see the vein of thought, the questions which were being asked. And I know for sure, I think I don't know from where I heard this thing, but this was being projected into the movement by
There
the
was this whole story with the Bon Maharaj, right? So where devotees, I think also Harikesh, went in Vrindavan and got in contact with other swamis from the Gaudiya Math, and one of the major people there was Bon Maharaj, and then Prabhupada wrote that actually he was abandoned or rejected even by Bhaktisiddhanta. So even when Bhaktisiddhanta left the world, he didn't want to see Bon Maharaj anymore, and right, so and basically gave the advice not to mingle with this person. But yeah, there obviously was already some exchange happening, and that's maybe in the same time frame. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so otherwise for us, I think we should not have any distinction, and we should always consider all the associates of Lord as Nitya Siddhas. And that's for us, it is Srila Prabhupada is Nitya Siddha. He's not a sadhana Siddha or Kripa Siddha of this life. Past, whatever has happened, as Srila Prabhupada said, how does it matter?
Yeah,
So
that's okay, but that doesn't help us understand. We're trying to understand it right now, and
This
to just say, oh, we should consider like this, okay.
in this life, in this pastime, in this life, he came from the spiritual world. That's all we need to understand.
Who? Okay, we want the proof of that. Now we want to understand that.
But this is the definition of Nitya Siddha, no?
I share a quote on the chat where Prabhupada says that a spiritual master must be liberated. It does not matter if he has come from Krishna Loka or he's liberated from here, but he must be liberated. So I think it is not important, correct me if I'm wrong, it is not important whether the spiritual master as Nitya Siddha has come from the spiritual world, or whether this one thing we know for sure, that the spiritual master, like Prabhupada, like any spiritual master, like Prabhupada is saying, must be liberated. So Prabhupada is liberated. I think we don't have that. We don't doubt that. So a spiritual master must believe it does not matter if he has come from Krishna Loka or he's liberated from here. So we accept Prabhupada is liberated. Now, like my initial question was this, that Nitya Siddha necessarily needs to come from the spiritual world, or he can become Nitya Siddha and remain here and act as the spiritual master. So I think it is not important if he has come like from this quote. It is not like really important if he has come from Krishna Loka or he became liberated here as Sana Siddha, Kripa Siddha, because at the end Prabhupada is saying there is no distinction. Once you reach, you become perfect as Siddha, then you are Nitya Siddha. Prabhupada was clearly saying in that lecture, Prabhupada was saying, but when they become Siddha, perfect by any process, they are on the same level. There is no distinction. So, yeah.
Yes, Balram Prabhu.
It seems like there will be a distinction, at least in this much that I've read and understand, and please, like everyone here, correct me and us if we're wrong, is that if you are coming from Nrsingadeva's planet or Ayodhya, Ram's planet, that you can't take anybody to Radha Krishna planet, Goloka Vrindavan. So entwined in that, it could be a misconception, I don't know, is as the impression I have had from my association so far is that Srila Prabhupada is a resident of Goloka Vrindavan. So he is a liberated, eternally liberated soul or liberated soul from that place. Therefore, he has that relationship. Therefore, he can take us there. But somebody else who is liberated also, but he's liberated and he has his relationship on another planet in the spiritual world, can't take you to Goloka Vrindavan.
That would be a spiritual distinction, Prabhus, because
Yeah.
we are talking about Krishna Loka and Vaikuntha Loka. So both of them are spiritual depending on
Oh,
of the
absolutely.
creator.
Yes, yes.
So,
Yeah.
but then the distinction between coming from the spiritual world and being liberated in this material world and becoming a spiritual master, then there wouldn't be a distinction because the material world is a material thing. So actually there is no distinction whether the spiritual master came from Krishna Loka or he became liberated here. Now, if there is a spiritual distinction, if he came from Krishna Loka or he came from Vaikuntha Loka, that's another thing. But distinction, like whether he was liberated in this material world or whether he was liberated for he came directly from Krishna Loka, I think there is no distinction because Prabhupada was a Nitya Siddha, so eternally perfect. They are on the same platform.
See, from this is not talking about Nitya Siddha, this chat you're talking about. That's like the minimum most qualification of a spiritual master. Now, we understand from Srila Prabhupada when he talks about even after you become perfect, then there is more perfect and most perfect also. And nectar of instruction, it is also described after even among the pure devotees, there are different categories, keeps going forward. And as far as the um, when we look at this particular um, purport and similar other many places Srila Prabhupada talks about, and we can pull that up, that these such devotees, especially those who were his nearest intimate associates, were Nitya Siddha. See, all of them would be spiritual, could be spiritual masters, but intimate associates were Nitya Siddhas. At least in this pastime, as I see in Narada Muni, in this pastime, when Srivas Thakur incarnated, he incarnated as a pure devotee from Narad Muni, and he is considered Nitya Siddha too. He came from the spiritual world in his transcendental body. And the next one, no, this is a lecture he is saying in Honolulu 617. those times when I was writing this, I guess 15 years back, 12 years back, I wasn't so particular about books and lectures, but later on I have read it and I've compiled other place. I will change it. But this one says, and his associates, just like Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu and Gadadhar and Srivas and many others. So he's always in association of his assistants who are assisting him in propagating the Sankirtan movement. Gaurangera Sangi Gane Nitya Siddha Boy Mane. Anyone who is preaching the Sankirtan movement is associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sango Pangastra, just like Advaita Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu helped. Similarly, anyone up to the date who is trying to help the propagation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, preach the Sankirtan movement all over the world. He is also associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaurangera Sangigane Nitya Siddha Boli Mane. They are not ordinary human being, Nitya Siddha, ever liberated.
So is Prabhupada talking about himself there or about Prabhupada's disciples also?
About himself and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, preaching. Oh, this is preaching all over the world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati.
No, but before that, you can see he said, who is trying to help the propagation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, which all his disciples are.
Yeah, Prabhu, but when he's talking about help, when he's talking about himself, which is this person, preach this all over the world, he is thinking I'm helping only, like trying to help. That is his way of saying. It's not, you have to take the whole sentence, no? Can't cut it out, no?
No, I'm not cutting. I'm taking all.
The whole sentence, when it says,
It says, similarly, anyone, even up to date, up to now,
yeah,
who is trying to help the propagation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, preach the Sankirtan mission movement all over the world, he is also associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So is he saying that you are associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, Krishna Kishore Prabhu?
How am I preaching all over the world?
Huh?
How am I preaching all over the world?
You're preaching in New York, right?
But that's not all over the world, no?
No, then when you go to India, you preach in India. Then when you went to Russia, you preach in Russia. When you came to Turkey, you preach in Turkey. You're traveling all over the world also, right?
1 time, 2 time, 3 time. He's preaching currently all over the world simultaneously, no? Right now he's preaching.
Okay. Are you helping Prabhupada preach all over the world?
No, it's talking about help the propagation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. It's not Prabhupada. I'm helping Srila Prabhupada in one aspect, one place. You are helping another place. Everybody is helping another place. No? And
Exactly.
and we leave, still Srila Prabhupada will be preaching. I mean, that is not.
I mean, you seem to fit into this category, and so do the other devotees.
Prabhu, how can it fit? You have to take the whole thing, no? All over the world. Why would he say all over the world?
Okay, so Srila Prabhupada is the captain. You're helping Prabhupada in New York. Krishna Kishore Prabhu is helping Prabhupada in South America. Christopher Prabhu is helping. I'm not sure where Christopher is in Germany. So,
that is not all over the world. No? I mean, let's just go more forward. No, I mean, so many other places also he says similarly. It is not just one place when he's talking about. This is his constant refrain. I often bring up that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he has, I'll pull that up, he has defined it actually without any, it can't, I mean, that is the conclusive statement given by Srila. Let me pull that up. We have gone through this a few times, but here.
Yeah, Nimai Prabhu.
Oh, can I just read?
Just like, yeah, okay.
Go ahead. Okay, here, Srila, this is from CC Madhya 25.9 and the purport. Srila Prabhupada, then he says some things and then he goes to the purport by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So this sincere study and appreciation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also applicable to his authorized devotees. And it is clearly stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya 7:11. Kali Kalera Dharma Krishna Nama Sankirtan Krishna Shakti Bina Nahe Tara Pravartan. In this age of Kali, real religious propaganda should induce people to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is possible for someone who is especially empowered by Krishna. No one can do this without being especially favored by Krishna. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in this regard in his Anubhashya, wherein he quotes a verse from Narayana Samhita, Dwaparye Janer Vishnu Pancharatraistat Kevalay Kalau tu Nama Matrena Pujyate Bhagavan Hri. In Dwapar Yuga, devotees of Lord Vishnu and Krishna render devotional service according to the principles of Pancharatrika. In this age of Kali, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped simply by the chanting of His holy names. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur then comments, without being empowered by the direct potency of Lord Krishna to fulfill his desire, and without being specifically favored by the Lord, no human being can become the spiritual master of the whole world. He certainly cannot succeed by mental concoction, which is not meant for devotees or religious people. Only an empowered personality can distribute the holy name of the Lord and enjoin all fallen souls to worship Krishna. By distributing the holy name of the Lord, he cleanses the hearts of the most fallen people. Therefore, he extinguishes the blazing fire of the material world. Not only that, he broadcasts the shining brightness of Krishna's effulgence throughout the world. Such an acharya or spiritual master should be considered non-different from Krishna. That is, he should be considered the incarnation of Lord Krishna's potency, Saktyavesa. Such a personality is Krishna Langita Vikraha, that is, he is always embraced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Such a person is above the considerations of the Varnashrama institution. He is the Guru or spiritual master for the entire world, a devotee on the topmost platform, the Mahabhagavat, and a Paramhamsa Thakur, a spiritual form only fit to be addressed as Paramhamsa or Thakur. So, whenever he's talking about the
Prabhuji, can you copy and paste that and share that with us in the group?
So whenever Srila Prabhupada in third person is talking about preaching to the whole world, it is always himself. It's too humble to say anything else. So this is the conclusive statement of how Srila Prabhupada is Saktyavesa avatar, that he is the he's Saktyavesa avatar. I mean, he is actually Lord. The Lord's one potency of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is residing with Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, the soul, let's say, he is coming with the added potency, like Krishna himself with this is enjoined like together. That's the, when we see Srila Prabhupada, that's how we need to see that it is not just a Jiva Tattva. He is Jiva Tattva, but he is Jiva Tattva plus like that. With the potency of Lord is also there. So when we need to see both, but we surrender to the potency of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like he is God. He is God. But because it is with Srila, it's not independent of Lord, it's separated in a sense from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We see in a difference also that this is with Srila Prabhupada. So all of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's potencies are not with Srila Prabhupada. So we don't consider Srila Prabhupada as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But one aspect of Srila Prabhupada, which is preaching, and showing his devotion and his potency of preaching, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. That's the meaning of empowered personality. There is a personality and then he's empowered. Just like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva is one way. Sometimes he's considered, not in all aspects. He's Guna Avatar otherwise. Prithu Maharaj, Vyasadeva, Narad Muni, they're all like that. And this is all there and later on. So this 7.11 is what he was referring to, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So this is the fundamental religious principles. This is the Kalera Dharma, Krishna Nam, Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Vinanaya. So in those verses, then Srila Prabhupada explains even further. Or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is explaining. Or whoever is, I don't know who is saying that to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah. I think Pradyumna Prabhu is waiting to say something, and then Krishna Kishore Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, I was asking just like Srila Prabhupada has that potency. So, Srila Prabhupada is also empowering or giving that mercy, that just like Balram Prabhu is preaching in that Turkey, you are in your. So, Srila Prabhupada by because we are conditioned soul, what we can do, but by somehow little bit, because we are trying to serve Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is acting through all the devotees. So in that sense, all are trying to serve Srila Prabhupada, and he's using us because Srila Prabhupada is not going everywhere. So he's empowering or sending his disciples. So in that reference, that Srila Prabhupada is giving that Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's power he is having. So he is giving little bit just to fill up the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
That's a good question. So are devotees or disciples carrying Prabhupada or aspects of Prabhupada?
Really want to address that. I've really been long time I've been thinking about this because it's like, anyway, I come to that. So I just want to, I'm going down the verses about the Shaktivesh avatar. In the same place I had compiled these about what is a Shaktivesh avatar, empowered incarnations. And in this is the verse from Madhya 22:46. And this is about the different incarnations, a summary study of the Shaktivesh avatar. Then after this, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes into detail about each Shaktivesh avatar and all this. So here he is saying, just like this Sheshanaga, Narad Muni, empowered to distribute devotional service, Bhakti Shakti. So Srila Prabhupada has this Bhakti Shakti, and Prithu Maharaj has Palana Shakti, the maintaining Shakti. Parashuram had the Dushta Daman Shakti, to cut down rogues and demons Shakti. Jnana Shakti was with Kumara, so that's how Krishna has all these Shaktis. And that Shakti of Krishna, Krishna is now non-different. He is present in Srila Prabhupada also. So that's how the incarnation works. They Krishna extends himself, like that. So that potency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when it is coming, they are descending. They are not like sadhana siddha, that in this life then suddenly, they descend. And all of these applies then. There are innumerable incarnations of Krishna. This next verse, see? Next to next verses are coming. So these are all there's no possibility of counting them. We can simply indicate they were giving the example. So these all Shaktivesh avatars are also avatars, just like Krishna coming. Avatar descend by their own free will, and although they may act like ordinary human beings, they do not belong to this material world. Lord Krishna in his avatars can be understood only by the grace of the Lord. And it goes on.
So yeah, Prabhu, just like Nimai Prabhu, you are telling these things, na? You are compiled, studied, and we all are reading these things. So somehow you are also like a tool in the hand of Srila Prabhupada. So how to understand that?
I'm coming to that. Just keep that
Yes,
thought.
sir.
Coming to- Uh, so Samshakti, the four Kumaras, okay, goes on. And Narada Muni. The power of knowledge was invested and the power of devotional service was invested in Narada. Bhakti, Narade, Shakti, Bhakti, Brahmanya. So this is what was invested in him. So he was carrying that like a like like an additional thing. They're all spiritual masters don't carry that. They're specifically empowered then. And many living entities are classified among the Shakti Tattvas. Such incarnations empowered for specific purpose are known as Saktyavesa avatars. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is also. Shakti Avesha Avatar. He's an avatar. King Prithu is also an avatar, but of that particular Shakti. So you are the part and parcel expansion of Lord Vishnu due to the mischievous activities of King Vena. This is at that opportune moment you descended as the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So this is not a full incarnation but a potency incarnation. Indeed, for the protection of religious principles, you have appeared from the body of King Vena. So like that, Srila Prabhupada is appearing like that. So sometimes Lord Vishnu appears in his person as Lord Krishna or Lord Ram. All these appearances are mentioned in Shastra. Sometimes he appears as a Shaktivesh avatar, like Lord Buddha. As explained before, these Shaktivesh avatars are incarnations of Vishnu's power invested in a living entity. Living entity, that's why I call them, just for our namesake, Jiva Tattva plus. Living entities are also part and parcel of Lord Vishnu, but they are not as powerful. Therefore, when a living entity descends as an incarnation of Vishnu, he is especially empowered by the Lord. When King Prithu is described as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, it should be understood that he is a Shaktivesh avatar. So when we can easily say Srila Prabhupada is an incarnation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when we are saying the incarnation, we should also think and clarify that he is a part and parcel of Lord
It's
Vishnu.
Jiva Tattva. It's Jiva Tattva, not Vishnu Tattva.
With the potency also simultaneous, not just like us Jiva Tattva. There is a potency is incarnating with him of Lord. So he's incarnation of Vishnu too. Any living being acting as the incarnation of Lord Vishnu is thus empowered by Lord Vishnu to preach the bhakti cult. Such a person can act like Lord Vishnu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and defeat demons by arguments and preach the bhakti cult exactly according to the principles of the Shastra. As indicated in Bhagavad Gita, whenever we find someone extraordinary preaching the bhakti cult, that's 7 chapter, which is that opulences of the absolute. No, we
And
that he is especially empowered by Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, as confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antalila 7. Again, what Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati quoted, Krishna Shakti Vina Nayak Tara Pravartan. One cannot explain the glories of the holy name of the Lord without being specifically empowered by him. If one criticizes or finds fault with such an empowered personality, one is to be considered an offender against Lord Vishnu himself and is punishable. Even though such offenders may dress as Vaishnavas with false tilak and mala, they are never false tilak. And they are never forgiven by the Lord if they offend a pure Vaishnava. There are many instances of this in the Shastra. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 4:19-37. Since
I,
Maharaj
I saw also Prabhupada say that Prophet Muhammad and Jesus Christ were Shaktivesh Avatar.
Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Since Maharaj Prithu was the Shaktivesh incarnation of the Supreme Lord, He did not have to act in any way to attain liberation. See, Nitya Siddha. He came from the Mekunda world or spiritual sky in order to execute the will of the Supreme Lord on earth. Consequently, he was to return home back to Godhead without having to execute jnana, yoga, or karma. Although Prithu Maharaj was eternally a pure devotee, Nitya Siddha, of the Lord, he nonetheless adopted the process of devotional service in order to teach the people in general the proper process of executing the duties of life and ultimately returning home back to Godhead. That's from Bhagavatam 4:23:11. In that regard, I want to go to Prahlad Maharaj's pastime and just to continue this. This is very appropriate to take it up. Yeah, this is what where we left off. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:10:3. This is Prahlad Maharaj started praying to Narsinghadev. He didn't quote the verse. Okay, let me go to the verse 7:10:3. Vrityalakshan jigyasur bhaktim kameshwa achodayat bhavan samsara bijeshu hidaya gantishu prabho. O my worshipable Lord, because the seed of lusty desires, which is the root cause of material existence, is within the core of everyone's heart, you have sent me to this material world to exhibit the symptoms of a pure devotee. To exhibit the symptoms. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. Can someone read it, please?
Yeah, Prabhu. Shall I read? Purport. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has given considerable discussion about Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha devotees. Nitya Siddha devotees come from Vaikuntha to this material world to teach, by their personal examples, how to become a devotee. The living entity in the material world can take lessons from such Nitya Siddha devotees and thus become inclined to return home back to Godhead. A Nitya Siddha devotee comes from Vaikuntha upon the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and shows by his example how to become a pure devotee. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Gyan Karmadi Anavratam Anukulena Krishnanushulnam Bhakti Uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. This is called pure devotional service. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.111.1.1.11. In spite of coming to this material world, the Nitya Siddha devotee is never attracted by the allurements of the material enjoyment. A perfect example is Prahlad Maharaj, who is a Nitya Siddha, a Mahabhagavad devotee. Although Prahlad was born in the family of Hiranyakashipu, an atheist, he was never attached to any kind of materialistic enjoyment. Desiring to exhibit the symptoms of a pure devotee, the Lord tried to induce Prahlad Maharaj to take material benedictions, but Prahlad Maharaj did not accept them. On the contrary, by his personal example, he showed the symptom of a pure devotee. In other words, the Lord himself has no desire to send his pure devotee to this material world, nor does a devotee have any material purpose in coming. When the Lord Himself appears as an incarnation within this material world, He is not allowed by the material atmosphere and He has nothing to do with material activity. Yet, by His example, He teaches the common man how to become a devotee. Similarly, a devotee who comes here in accordance with the order of Supreme Lord, shows by his personal behavior how to become a pure devotee. A pure devotee, therefore, is a practical example for all living entities, including Lord Brahma.
Mhm. This how to become pure devotee is for Nitya Siddha they do, but Srila Prabhupada, no, he is not just coming to show how to become a pure devotee. He showed through how he took his spiritual master's instruction. 43 years later, he came to the US. Like that, how to keep that patience and perseverance and determination. All these things, how he how he then suddenly developed, which cannot develop for us, but whatever. So he showed so many things he's shown in his life, which we are going to go through, how to become a pure devotee. But Srila Prabhupada, because he's empowered incarnation also, he not just he's showing how to become pure devotee, but he's also able to like use it, the potency of the Lord, and do it all over the world to show, not just with his family or with people around him or in his region, or like potency of Krishna. Krishna is all over the world, so he's able to do that too. Which Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati explains what Shakti Avatar symptoms are. Any discussion on that before we go to what Pradyumna Prabhu is saying?
I don't know, remind everyone it's been almost 2 hours.
So just to have it clear, Prabhu, so there are different types of Nitya Siddhas. Now you were talking about Saktyavesa Avatara Nitya Siddha, and I remember and I found the quote where Prabhupada says that Mother Yashoda is actually a Nitya Siddha, but Prabhupada says she's therefore a Nitya Siddha devotee, an expansion of Krishna's Hladini potency. So Prabhupada is saying that Mother Yashoda is the expansion of his Hladini potency. So this is like some other type of Nitya Siddha, as well as that Nitya Siddha who becomes liberated after Sadhana Siddha or after Kripa Siddha, like he was conditioned in the material world, then he becomes Siddha, he gets the title Nitya Siddha. So my question, Prabhu, is Prabhupada what kind of Nitya Siddha? Shaktyavesha Avatara. So Shaktyavesha Avatara must come from the spiritual world, or
Descend, no? Avatar means descending, no?
descending.
That's what Srila Prabhupada was saying about Prithu Maharaj. He is descending from the spiritual world. So he was already liberated, and that's how.
Maybe we can do a bit of research, because I also remember directly where Prabhupada said that like Jesus and Prophet Muhammad were Shaktyavesha Avatar, which means they're Jiva, but given the power to preach their message in their particular area. But is Jesus and is Prophet Muhammad a conditioned soul then chosen and given the power, or were they came also from the spiritual world? I don't know, but
I just got confused by that letter to Mukunda, New Vrindavan, 10 June 1969 on the chat, where Prabhupada says that the spiritual master, but one who is there is no need of distinction whether he has come directly from Krishna Loka or from the material world. So Prabhupada says there is no distinction if one is an avatar, not like one, but I mean like that pure devotee, like come directly from Krishna Loka Avatara or from the material world if he stays in the material world, but is Nitya Siddha.
Where does it say as avatar means a Shakti Vesh avatar we are talking about, or Vishnu Tattva? Vishnu is taking avatar, no? Devotees don't take avatar, no, like that.
But I mean Shaktyavesha Avatara, that you were saying that
Avatar is of Krishna. So Shakti Vesh avatar, why we talk about a Jiva having an avatar is when he gets when Krishna enters into him, and then Krishna appears. Krishna is descending. with the in the body of a devotee.
Yeah, but my doubt is because I'm confused by what Prabhupada is saying here. Like he says, it does not matter. No, a spiritual master must be liberated. It does not matter if he has come from Krishna Loka or he is liberated from here. So then we have two situations like of a spiritual master. One, the spiritual master is descending from Krishna Loka.
Not
So
all
that means
spiritual masters. No? This is the basic qualification of a spiritual master, that he is liberated soul. He is become Siddha. Now, but a Saktyavesa avatar, he is descending, who is also a spiritual master. In not all Saktyavesa avatars need to be spiritual masters, and not all Nitya Siddhas also need to be spiritual masters. But the spiritual masters need to be liberated, whether they are Sadhana Siddha, Kripa Siddha, or Nitya Siddha.
and all spiritual masters need to be Saktyavesa Avatara?
All spiritual masters need not be Shaktivesa.
No, okay.
Can you say that again? I
All
didn't hear.
masters are not Shaktivesa avatar, no? One who is Krishna is coming in his body to come down, no? For a specific purpose.
What do you mean to come down?
Like avatar, no? Avatar comes for a specific purpose, no? Like Prithu Maharaj is avatar, Vyasadeva, everybody.
Prabhupada.
Yeah. It's like that. We
Yeah.
just
So you mean Krishna is just working through them?
yeah,
Because sometimes you may use some English and you're saying to manifest or appear there, it means like come. But he just works through them.
I mean, I have tried to see and fail all the time, but I want to see him whenever we talking about ISKCON, his instructions, books, everything related to his preaching activities. Lord Chaitanya is speaking. I mean, it is Srila Prabhupada, but through him. Like it is Lord Chaitanya doing it. Lord Chaitanya is incarnate. Lord Chaitanya is going around the world using Srila Prabhupada's, his loving energy of Srila Prabhupada is using, and that's why he's doing it and going around. It's Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying everything, not just Srila Prabhupada alone like that. So
Yeah, Prabhu, you told that
Yes, of course.
pure devotee need not to be like a spiritual master need not to be every time Satyavesh. So just like Muhammad Sahib and Jesus Christ. So Krishna's power has descended. They may be in this world. That can also be conditioned. That
that
like somebody.
avatar means, when it says Shaktivesh avatar, avatar means Krishna is taking descending. That's the exact meaning of avatar. Direct translation is that. And here also, we were just reading, Srila Prabhupada says about Prithu Maharaj, he's taking avatar, he's descending. See?
Yeah, but it's not actually Krishna. We're not saying that it's Krishna actually descending in, because it's not fully Krishna. It's, of course, there's, and the absolute says there's no difference between part or whatever, but we've read many times that an aspect of Krishna, he empowers that particular devotee with a particular aspect, right?
I'm going to change this from Prithu Maharaj to Srila Prabhupada. Okay.
Yeah, it works. It's true.
This
Yeah.
is how they change the books, huh?
It's easy. Look. Yeah.
Oh, Srila Prabhupada, son of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, you are the part and parcel expansion of Lord Chaitanya. Due to the mischief activity of rascals, religious principles, most laws. At that opportune moment, you descended as the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. Indeed, for the protection of religious principles, you have appeared from the body of Chaitanya of Srila Prabhupada.
Wait. No, that last one is not so right?
That's how it is.
You have appeared from the...
You are. It's basically Kala position Asi, you are Dehata, from the body.
Yeah, but when you're talking about Prabhupada, so then Prabhupada has appeared from the body of Chaitanya.
From the body of, or as
Chaitanya.
from the body of, from the body of his father, Gormon.
Gormont.
He's descended, Prabhupada. I mean, that's the problem, no? Like, see, before in 66, when like 69, 70, I read the read the BTGs, devotees are writing, they are talking like this, exactly like this, that he has descended from the spiritual world. He has specifically been empowered. That's how I learned this thing. Otherwise devotees don't talk like this. But when I was reading, I remember in 2000, in 2000, 2001, I was living in the Lower East Side, and then going around Tompkins Square Park daily chanting. And then I was just in that mood of Srila Prabhupada being here, and then I was reading those BTGs around those years. And as I was saying, my God, this has been put into my consciousness to bring him down like this. And devotees at that time were exactly like this, they were writing in the BTGs. Actually, there is a pastime where Govinda Mataji, she writes that, she says she got a dream that Srila Prabhupada is descending as a beautiful boy and like that. You remember? Very, very. So similarly, like these Shaktivesh avatars are incarnations of Lord Vishnu's power invested in a living entity. So when a living entity descends as an incarnation of Vishnu, so Srila Prabhupada, when he descends as an incarnation of Lord Chaitanya, he is especially empowered by Lord. When King Prithu is described as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, it should be understood that he is Shaktivesh avatar, part and parcel of Lord Vishnu, and is specifically empowered by him. Any living being acting as the incarnation of Vishnu is thus empowered by Lord Vishnu to preach the bhakti cult. Such a person can act like Lord Vishnu, defeat demons by arguments, and preach the bhakti cult exactly according to the principles of Shastra. As in Bhagavad Gita, whenever we find someone extraordinary preaching the bhakti cult, we should know that he is specially empowered by Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Krishna Shakti Vina na hai Tara Pravartan. Living entity cannot do this, no? All around the world like that. Only Lord Chaitanya can. He just switched it on, no? Like a switch he switched on. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. So as we go on, we will read this more and more. Let me remove my changes first of all.
Then Prabhu, we can say with 100% confidence that Prabhupada is like we went that there are different types of Nitya Siddhas. So we can say with total confidence that Prabhupada is a Nitya Siddha, Saktyavesa, Avatara, that became a spiritual master. So he came from the spiritual world. He wasn't in the material world. He was in the spiritual world. That's why he descended, because he's Saktyavesa Avatara. Is it right, Prabhu? We can say with total confidence.
In my words, you don't have to have confidence at all, 0%. But whenever I have anybody says or anything, I always think this purport. Based on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's comments and confirmation. This I have like really tried to put in my heart again and again. What does he mean by all of this? So based on his certification, we have to accept, we have to admit and accept that Srila Prabhupada is an empowered incarnation.
Okay, thank you, bro. Actually, my initial questions were the intention was to come to this point to discover which type of of Nitya Siddha is Prabhupada, because Balaram Prabhu was reading from the Lilamrita series, so it was speaking about Nitya Siddhas, but now we see that there are different types of Nitya Siddhas. So then we can say from what Prabhupada is teaching us that he's a Saktyavesa Avatara, Nitya Siddha Saktyavesa Avatara, and he wasn't in the material world, but he came from the spiritual world.
Descended. This, where was this? This one. See, let's discuss this also. He's saying, Srila Prabhupada is saying that he was a, somebody said that I was a physician.
But Nimai Prabhu, sorry, just before we go on, just that sort of put a question mark in there. Actually, right now we haven't read anything that says this directly, right? We haven't read anything directly saying Srila Prabhupada has come from the spiritual world. Is that correct?
We just read, no? Like from the symptoms we know, no? Like even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't ever say I've come from the spiritual world, no? And then Srila Prabhupada explains, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that one sees by the symptoms. And the symptoms are showing, and he cannot, the pure devotees, his associates, they know him by symptoms, and he cannot hide from his pure devotees. So by the symptoms, we can see Srila Prabhupada is writing those symptoms in that purport we saw Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and through that we understand now.
No, but Prabhupada just said himself, somebody just said that Prabhupada said himself, we read somewhere that whether the spiritual master, someone is coming from the conditioned state and become liberated and then become a spiritual master, they should not be seen differently from
Yeah.
someone who's coming. So
But
they
Srila
can preach also, no?
kind of spiritual master.
Huh?
Srila Prabhupada is a different kind of spiritual
Yeah,
master.
that's what we're trying to establish right now.
Because
This
of
different kind. Okay, I accept it in my sentimental state. Others accept it. Now, first of all, what is this different kind of spiritual master? And prove it.
this thing. This is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Thakur then comments, without being empowered by the direct potency of Lord Krishna, empowered means Shakti Avesh, to fulfill his desire, and without being specifically favored by the Lord, no human being can become the spiritual master of the whole world. So then it goes, only an empowered personality can distribute the holy name of the Lord and enjoin all fallen souls to worship Krishna by distributing the holy name. Most profound, therefore, not only that, he broadcasts the shining blessing of Krishna effulgence throughout the world. Such an acharya or spiritual master is such an acharya. There are so many other acharyas and spiritual masters. But that acharya, spiritual master, should be considered non-different from Krishna. It should be an incarnation of Lord Krishna's potency.
I mean, we have Bhaktisiddhanta, we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We know what we know about them. We know that they are
I think
Manjaris in the spiritual world. There's a specific book that gives their identity, but they didn't preach all over the world, right? Bhaktisiddhanta preached in India. Bhaktivinoda Thakur preached in India. Prabhupada is the one that preached around the world. So
I don't know about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, whether he's or should be considered Shakti Avesh Avatar or not, because he also, just like Srila Prabhupada, like like that, he spread the holy name around India. And in a sense, Srila Prabhupada is coming through his whole, standing on his shoulders, in a sense, to the his extension of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati desire and instruction, direct instruction. So I do not know about that, but I mean, I have not heard other acharyas in our parampara being considered Saktyavesa avatar, like that. You know. So
Okay, if we take away this Saktyavesa avatar, as far as what you have said to us, that it means coming down from spiritual world. No. Okay. What about somebody in this material world, like yourself right now, and then Sri Krishna wants to use you for something, and then he gives you this plus power to do it, whether you're Hitler, whether you're Jesus, whether you're
let's go.
um
Let's go to that.
blah blah. So is there another name for those people? Not Shaktivesha Avatar?
Not avatar, but Shakti. See, there, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the very nice. Um, this verse is from. This whole pastime is from CC Adi 10:56 to 60. So says Bhakte Kripa Karena Prabhu E Tina Swarupe Sakshad Avesh Ara Avirbhav Rupe. Bhakte unto devotees Kripa mercy Karena bestows Prabhu Lord Chaitanya E these Tina three Swarupe features Sakshad directly Avesha empowered by the Lord Ara and um, Avirbhav appearance, Rupe in the features. Translation. Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestows his causeless mercy upon his devotees in three features. His own direct appearance, Sakshad, his prowess within someone he empowers, Avesha, and his manifestations, Avirbhav. So he is appearing in three ways in devotees. Like he's appearing, then he appears in devotees' bodies as Avesha, no, Shakti Avesha, and his manifestations, Avirbhav, which is in the consciousness. Just like the gopis, they were always feeling because Krishna is in their consciousness. So it says Krishna never left Vrindavan. He fulfilled his promise of never leaving Vrindavan. So that is the Avirbhav, the bhava. And in that
What was the first one? I didn't understand the first one.
His direct appearance.
And what does that mean?
Just like when he came, he appeared as himself.
No, but it says here that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestows his causeless mercy upon his devotees in three features. His own direct appearance. Oh, so that only means 500 years ago when he was physically present, yes?
Also, he can come and appear in front of somebody, like even Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Nityananda Prabhu appeared in his dream directly.
Yeah, I've met devotees who Krishna appeared with them.
That is a direct Sakshat, he appears to them.
Okay.
So the Sakshat feature of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is his personal presence. Avesha refers to invested power, like that invested in Nakula Brahmachari. Avirbhav is a manifestation of the Lord that appears even though he is personally not present. So, which is in the consciousness. For example, Sri Chati Mata offered food at home to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he was far away in Jagannath Puri. And when she opened her eyes after offering the food, she saw that it has actually been eaten by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, so that is Sakshat. Similarly, when Srivas Thakur performed Sankirtan,
No, that's not Sakshat, is it? That's the last one.
so when Avirbhav, when
Avirbhav, yeah.
Srivas Thakur performed Sankirtan, thank you for catching, everyone felt the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his absence. This is another example of Avirbhav. The appearance of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in every devotee's presence is called Sakshat. His appearance in Nakul Brahmachari as a symptom of spatial prowess is an example of Avesha.
See, wait. Okay, so look, this one. The appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in every devotee's presence. Every devotee's presence? What does that mean?
That's what, no? Directly he comes, dream or something.
But he said every devotee's present.
I mean, any devotee, whoever, when he comes in front of any devotee, that is Sakshat feature. His appearance in Nakula Brahmachari is symptom of spatial prowess. The former Pradyumna Brahmachari was given the name Narsimhan Nanda Brahmachari by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In his body there were symptoms of Avirbhav. Such appearances are uncommon, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed many such pastimes through his different features. In Gaura Ganodesh Deepika, it is said that Nakula Brahmachari displayed the prowess, Avesha, and Pradyumna Brahmachari, the appearance, Avirbhav, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many hundreds and thousands of devotees of Lord Chaitanya among whom there are no special symptoms. See? But when a devotee of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu functions with specific prowess, he displays the feature called Avesha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally spread the Sankirtan movement, and he advised all the inhabitants of Bharatvarsha to take up his cult and preach it all over the world. The visible bodily symptoms of devotees who follow such instructions are called Avesha. Shivananda Sena observed such Avesha symptoms in Nakula Brahmachari, who displayed symptoms exactly like those of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So basically, all the pastimes we see, Srila Prabhupada preaching around the world, defeating everybody, actually these are pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing this.
So that is confirming that Prabhupada is Saktyavesa Avatar, like Balaram Prabhu was saying that nothing was directly saying Prabhupada was Saktyavesa Avatar, something like that I understood. So by this, and also you quoted something from that Prabhupada was mentioning Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So by this we can understand directly that Prabhupada is Saktyavesa
Oh, wait,
Avatar.
wait. The little bit of a confusion there because Saktyavesa Avatar being empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is one thing. Clearly, Prabhupada is, as clear. But what we were discussing before is Srila Prabhupada coming from the spiritual world directly on a mission to preach it? That hasn't been said directly.
Avatar means descending. No? That's the only definition of avatar. It's not coming in from the material world.
Like Prabhupada is mentioning about
No,
like
are you sure about that? Because what is descending?
The Sanskrit
When we
means
say Saktyavesa Avatar, what is descending is Krishna's potency from the spiritual world to this person. Are you
how
sure it means that that person must be descending, or Krishna's potency?
this is descending in the body of a devotee, no? The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states that Chaitanya Charitamrita states that in the age of Kali, the only spiritual function is that same Ante Leela 7.11. That's the main verse backing all of this up. Is the only spiritual function is to broadcast the holy name of the Lord, but this function can be performed only by one who is actually empowered by Lord Krishna. The process by which a devotee is thus empowered is called Avesha, or sometimes it is called Shakti Avesha. Shivananda Sena experienced the three features Sakshad, Avesh, and Abhirvav. All three experienced. Later, I shall vividly describe the transcendently blissful subject. So, from this, I understand that that Srila Prabhupada is Sakti Avesh Avatar, and also the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can come in in Srila Prabhupada's body in Avirbhav form also, sometimes directly also, just like Shivananda Sen experience all three. So as far as us are concerned, we can also get some potencies, because he says all the devotees, thousands of devotees get this no, not that one, but the other place that many devotees, these are all the devotees, no?
Yeah.
Devotees in three features. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestows his causes mercy upon his devotees in three features. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can come directly in front of us too. He can also bestow some power, avesha, some potency, and he can come in our consciousness too. There is no, that's what Srila Prabhupada is coming to 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 do that.
So that means what I said before in that sentence where it said, and all devotees who are helping spread the mission, blah, 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 that it is applicable to devotees also, or can be at least applicable.
But not avatar, no? We are not
Yeah, I don't, of course, not for me, of course, but, that all depends on how much Krishna or Chaitanya or Prabhupada want to empower this particular devotee. you know, I'm still not clear right now that avatar means you have to come down from the spiritual world.
Prabhu, avatar, the Sanskrit word meaning avatar means descending.
Yeah, I know. And I asked you a question also. Does that descending refer to Krishna's potency descending? Or does it mean that the devotee has to have descended from the spiritual specifically to do that mission now?
So let's go back to where we were. The descending is the devotee descending. Basically, Krishna pushes a devotee that he goes into a devotee and says, I want you to do this now. Take this potency of my, I am here with you. I am going to do this. I'm going
Yeah,
to.
yes, that's what I said also.
He's so
No, but what we're saying, let's be clear with the English. What you're seem to be saying, well, maybe it's confused language, is that we're saying a Saktyavesa avatar has to be in the spiritual world, then he's sent to the material world just for that life to perform that mission. That means Saktyavesa avatar,
Mhm.
right? But it's not. So I asked that to you, and we still didn't get to that point. Is that can there be a conditioned soul from the material world who is given some degree of potency from Krishna? So what would that be called? What would he be called if he's from here?
There are two kinds of pure devotees. 140. What
I'm
is
not even talking about pure devotee, maybe, because I haven't read myself, but I heard Prabhupada say Hitler also is a Saktyavesa avatar.
No, no, no. Don't say like that. It is, avatar is descending. See, Adi 164. Let's see what he says.
I mean, just on that point to finish, because you laughed it off, when Krishna himself wants something done, whatever it be, destruction or this, whatever, Krishna wants something done. And he has to, and he wants to empower a particular person to do that. And he gives him that power to do that. Is he called Shakti Avatar or is he called something else? What are they called?
I mean, avatar means an incarnation who is descending from the spiritual world. There is no two ways about it. That's how, in Sanskrit dictionaries,
Okay, so leave that. So what is the name given to somebody who is empowered from the conditioned state to do something for Krishna?
it's like Krishna is just like that. This we are reading, Avesha. This he comes. These three things he does. No? He comes.
Prabhuji, what's his name? What's the name given? I'm only asking a simple question. What is he called then? This person who is empowered.
Just devotees. They are not empowered like incarnations. So there is no need to become. These are just pure devotees. They're such
I'm
pure.
not talking about pure devotees. See, okay.
Two kinds of pure devotees: personal associates, parishats, and neophyte devotees, sadhakas.
Okay. Okay. Could there be even someone who's not a devotee, doesn't love Krishna, doesn't teach about Krishna? Just Krishna wants this done, a particular mission, whatever it is,
Of course,
seemingly good or bad. And he has to give him some power to do that. So when Krishna gives him some power to do that, what is he called, this person?
vibhuti.
Vibhuti. Okay.
This is in 10th chapter, Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, Nimai Prabhu. Just like we said, you are telling that incarnation of descent. So Shakti Avesh. So that is the energy of Krishna that has descended. Not really that person has to descend. Like this Shakti Avesh
How is the energy
avatar.
ending?
Yeah.
Narada Muni was referred, Narada Muni was referred as Saktyavesa Avatara, but actually in his previous life he was a child, then he reached perfection. Previous to that life, he was a Gandharva, so he didn't descend directly from the spiritual world as Nitya Siddha, but he reached the Nitya Siddha, then he became Narada Muni, then he is referred as Saktyavesa Avatara.
Read the pastime when he changed his body to Narad, then he took on a spiritual body. He entered the spiritual world. In that spiritual body, he got empowered. In that body, his empowerment and instruction by the Lord is go all around the world and change people through his potency. So that's why he's a spiritual master of so many great devotees. So he didn't become, he was not empowered when he was a Gandharva or a young boy. He changed his bodies. He took on the spiritual. There is a whole pastime in the Bhagavatam. explaining how Narad Muni exactly explains how he took on the whole body, the spiritual body.
So it is said there, I think it's Bhagavatam 1:6, right? First canto, chapter 6, where Narada Muni is describing, I think, to Vyasa, how he was born as Narada Muni. So it is said there that he went to the spiritual world, or only because it is clear that he got a spiritual body. But to get a spiritual,
Yeah, in the spiritual world now.
so we cannot get a spiritual body being in the material world, like Jivan Mukta, liberated even within this material world.
That is not the way Narad Muni was. He took on a whole spiritual body. See, that's why I'll read that to you. See, this was he was in the this is when he was Jivan Mukta. And so Vyasadeva, in due course of time, I who was fully absorbed in Krishna, therefore I know being completely free from metal, met with death. Met with death as lightning and illumination. Just before that, let's see, this is Jivan Mukta. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental passion of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and envious. This was Jivan Mukta. And then he changed his body. And so, O Brahmana, O Brahman Vyasadeva, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and who therefore had no attachments, being completely free from all material taints, met with death as lighting and illumination occur simultaneously. Purport. To be fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna means clearance of material dirts or hankering. As a very rich man has no hankering for a small petty thing. So also devotee Lord Krishna, who is guaranteed to pass on to the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, fully cognizant and blissful. And in due course of time, when a pure devotee is completely prepared, all of a sudden the change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotees, a change takes place exactly like lightning, and illumination follows simultaneously. That is to say, a devotee simultaneously changes his material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection. So that is Jivan Mukta, due to his body being spiritualized like a red hot iron. Before that, having been awarded a transcendental body, befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, then he became Nitya Siddha. I quit the body made of five material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of the work karma stopped. Prabhupada informed by the person Godhead that he would be awarded a transcendental body befitting the Lord's association. Narada got his spiritual body as soon as he quitted his material body. This transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with three primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, freedom from material modes, and freedom from reactions of fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with the lack of these three qualities. A devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with the transcendental qualities as soon as he is engaged in devotional service. That is, this is Jivan Mukta. It acts like magnetic influence. Therefore, change of body means stoppage of the reaction.
But where does it say that he went to the spiritual world? And therefore he is called Saktyavesa Avatara. He descended.
Narada is known as the son of Brahma, Lord Krishna is known as son of the person of God, and liberate devotees like Narada appear in the material world by the same process. Says Bhagavad Gita, the birth and activity of the Lord are all transcendental. Therefore, according to authorized opinion, the birth of Narada as the son of Brahma is also a transcendental pastime. His appearance and disappearances are practical.
We can't see what you're reading now, Prabhu.
You can't? Oh my
No,
God.
no. You left us in one place.
I've been going like a motor. The birth of Narada, son of Brahma, is also transcendental pastime. His appearance and disappearance are practically on the same level as that of a lord. The Lord and his devotees are therefore simultaneously one and different as spiritual entities. They belong to the same category of transcendence. So it's kind of a special birth which Narad Muni got. He got a transcendental body for sure as an associate of the Lord. That is 100% this. So this associate of the person who got transcendental body is of the spiritual world. Hmm?
So
Purvaj.
he didn't go to the spiritual world, right?
See the way Narad Muni, he somehow the other, because of his desire, whatever, the way he is, he got a transcendental body living in the spiritual world as an associate, and he simultaneously, it seems like, came to the material world to, as Srila Prabhupada explains, that he came just like Krishna comes, appearance and disappearance, on the same level of the Lord, to do a particular purpose. So it's like, that the pastime of Uddhava is there when Vidura questioned him, and he asked him question, and where is that? It is also in where is this pastime? Where is that verse? You know what I'm talking about? Let me get that verse. Vidura. He came back to the material world. Came down to the material world. So that is from 3 to 6. 3 to 6. Okay. Uh, 3. What's going on? Oh, where am I going? 3 to 6. The great devotee Uddhava soon came back from the abode of the Lord to the human plane, and wiping his eyes, he awakened his reminiscence of the past and spoke to Vidura in a pleasing mood. Purport. And when Uddhava was fully absorbed in the transcendental ecstasy of love of God, he actually forgot all about the external world. The pure devotee lives constantly in the abode of the Supreme Lord, even in the present body, which is Jivan Mukta, true, which apparently belongs to this world. Pure devotee is not exactly on the bodily plane, since he is under Supreme. When Uddhava wanted to speak to Vidura, he came down from the abode of the Lord Dwarka to the material plane of human beings. Even though a pure devotee is present on this mortal planet, he is here in relation to the Lord for engagement in transcendental service and not for any material cause. A living entity can live either on the material plane or in the transcendental abode of the Lord in accordance with his existing condition. The conditional change of the living entity are explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita in section verse people, whole thing. He could simultaneously reach the supreme planet and still appear in this world. That's where I wanted to come to. So it seems like Narada Muni, he got a transcendental body, not the Jivan Mukta. He was Jivan Mukta before, then he got a transcendental body as an associate of the Lord, and he got a service simultaneously of and the Lord descended with him to uh, to to preach the Bhakti cult, because it's a little bit. I don't we mull it over next week. How this is. I mean, that is clear that avatar means descending. That is, that's the English Sanskrit translation.
Yeah, Prabhu, that we sing for Srila Prabhupada, Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale. That also means that it descend.
Bhutal. That I think it just means Earth, not planet. But we can think about it. It's like cosmography. What is Earth? Bhutal is what? I don't think that is.
Who in this earth, for this earth only, if we can.
Appearing on this earth, and that we know from the Adi Leela. the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Prabhupada, the empowerment is this. This particular verse talks about what is that empowerment to do. The 7th chapter, last verse, 171. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtan movement of love of Krishna throughout the entire world. And therefore, in his presence, he inspired the Sankirtan movement. Specifically, he sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to Vrindavan and Nityananda to Bengal and personally went to South India. In this way, he kindly left the task of preaching his cult in the rest of the world to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. To the rest of the world. The members of the society must always remember that if they stick to the regular principles and preach sincerely, according to instruction of Acharya, surely they will have the profound blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and their preaching work will be successful everywhere throughout the world. So, this is what his instruction is, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving him that potency. Basically, he's preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through all these great personalities, empowered personalities. Okay. And when the devotees preach, no, they ye yatha mam prapadyante, and the Lord's desire also then what needs to be done according to that they get little potency, little avirbhav. And I mean, I need to really understand this more, but our we will be more empowered when we say this devotee is empowered. We will be more empowered if we are able to remember the instruction and Srila Prabhupada personally, Lord Chaitanya direct, like that. The Avirbhav manifestation should start with Avirbhav manifestation in the consciousness. Like when we are preaching, if we are not thinking, we are disassociated from the instruction and consciousness and presence of Srila Prabhupada in our mind and consciousness, then it is not so potent. Because it is our limited potency. So when we are like Srila Prabhupada is to us, like when I was writing, Krishna was sitting next to me. That consciousness is there in that Avirbhav manifestation. When Srila Prabhupada is sitting next to us, then if we say something, do something, it will have Srila Prabhupada's potency. More than what Srila Prabhupada was manifesting his pastime, we will be able to do. But it is actually Srila Prabhupada is doing and actually Lord Chaitanya acting through that. But we have to become a conduit like this, like the time thinking, conscious Avirbhav manifestation first. Without that, it is very limited. That's where I struggle with, unfortunately. Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu, one more thing I will follow. Just like Prabhu was telling that it was not directly mentioned that Prabhupada is the that. So it's like the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is like a hidden avatar, Chand avatar.
Yeah.
So how can that can also be you as you mentioned that we can just understand by symptoms.
Yeah.
So that also we cannot directly understand that no one mentioned that Srila Prabhupada is also like it is also like a hidden thing. So when
Yeah, so his devotees with the symptoms, he has given all these instructions for us to understand him. No? Otherwise, we remain very external. We just see him as a spiritual master, or even he was a physician in the last life. Like I remember Harikatha Prabhu told me he and Mukunda Prabhu were taking breakfast and they heard a lecture. And Shri Prabhu was saying something like, maybe I was a physician in my last life, but I never killed even any, or maybe I killed a snake and something like that he was talking about. No. So he was telling me that as soon as breakfast prasadam was over, we ran and looked up pastime of Srila Prabhupada. There are basically he was saying how there are Ayurveda physicians in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. It doesn't mean that he has to be a conditioned soul to have been a physician, and then he got perfected in the last life. And the physician could be our eternal devotees also. Nitya Siddhas also, they are that relationship with the Lord. So okay, we finished. Thank you very much, Prabhu's wonderful conversation. So much.
So we cannot directly openly say outside that Srila Prabhupada is a Saktyavesa avatar, because then people will say, we should say directly to common people. Okay, we in devotees, okay, we say, but
If
then they will say reference.
we ourselves have a full conviction of this, and people will be taken aback by what we are saying with that conviction, the potency. Otherwise, it will appear, because I experienced it with the Bhagavad Gita when reading the BTGs, original BTGs from 60s and early 70s, and devotees were writing in BTG directly all these things. Because it's just everyone was, or at least many people, most devotees were thinking like that. It was very apparent to devotees that he is come from the spiritual world. He's been empowered by the potency. He is going to deliver the whole world, and we are his fortunate servants. We can go wherever and just preach and deliver the countries. So that potency, consciousness, and conviction, faith, it's very easy. Then we should be able to say that. But we have to palatably say somebody is envious already on the surface, just a little bit innocent, and we are preaching him, and we know he's going to get very envious. So why we should? So actually, it is said that one should not preach to the envious. So that because they can become envious more, and they commit offenses and everything. But I feel like more and more, like Srila Prabhupada, same thing he says. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation of Krishna. Many Indians, when we say, they say, "What is this?" He was just a bhakti movement he started. So sometimes we don't say, sometimes we say, but with our if you have conviction and everything, and people watch us while saying it, and they get taken aback, and they have to think again, man. They really feel it, that potency. Okay, Prabhu, I'll go forward tomorrow, day after, next week. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, thank you.
it was so good to associate with you. Thank you.
It's for me, Prabhu.
Kalpatarubhyascha.
Vasudeva Chapatatanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai Prabhupada.